It's Friday and we are ready for the weekend. It's been a week of tough conversations, and while the one today may feel like it's on the lighter side, it's still one that touches our personal lives and has potential to impact our public ones. For the past 2 Fridays, we've had couples share their real stories, the joys, the tensions, the adjustments that make love work. But today, we zoom out. Because loving in 2026 is not the same as loving 20 or 30 years ago. Social media has changed access. Financial pressure has changed expectations. Gender roles are shifting. And commitment? That word seems heavier than ever. So is modern love under more pressure than ever before? This conversation needed a professional, so we brought you one. Join the conversation via the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the screen, and we are going to get straight into it right now.
Now today, we're joined by a man who has spent more than 2 decades helping singles and married couples navigate love, conflict, commitment, and communication. He believes marriage is meant to be enjoyed and not endured. And he has coached thousands of people through the realities of modern relationships. Now roll the montage.
This is a nice surprise. Tolu always pulls the very best ones. And this particular person is a beautiful surprise this morning. Dr. Iheanyi Ejiogu is an author, corporate trainer, life and relationship coach, and the global lead pastor of Evangel Pentecostal Church. Dr. Ejiogu has spent over 20 years working in relationships and the marriage space. He oversees a family life ministry and relationship straight talk, where he equips singles and married couples with practical tools for building strong, healthy unions. He is a member of the Coaches Association of Nigeria and the Association of Christian Family Life Coaches. And every year, he speaks to and mentors thousands of people navigating the realities of love. Dr. Iheanyi, thank you very much for joining us on Just Serious.
If you are a radio fan who has followed us here, you will know this gentleman who is sitting at the table because what was it on Saturday mornings? I think it was Relationship Straight Talk.
No, relationships, something around
that. Yeah. And it was so popular, and then that's when we realized that so many people were having issues in their relationships, and they didn't know where to turn. They didn't know
how to talk about
how to talk about it. So I brought him. Yes, she did.
Well, the ladies have actually promised me that you're a straight shooter, so maybe you will change my mind about marriage.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That aside, we're told that we either repeat our parents' marriages or we spend, all of our lives, trying not to repeat those marriages. Now, from love and commitment to conflict and compromise, what we grew up seeing can shape how we love today. So we hit the streets and, to actually ask, did parents' marriage inspire you? We'll come back to you, don't worry, Iheanyi. So we hit the streets and we asked, did your parents' marriage inspire you or warm you? Now let's hear what Nigerians have to say. This is Jasiri on the Streets.
Yes, to some extent I am inspired by their marriage, and to some extent I would love to change 1 or 2 things about it. My mom and dad are very, very strict, so I'm not sure I want to be like that with my kids.
I was not really inspired by my parents because they were not together. They don't bring us up together, and I think that really affects us mentally and financially also.
I am inspired by their marriage, and I do want to also do things differently. It's not every aspect of their marriage I'm going to use as a precedent for mine, but it is something I look forward to in the future.
Yes, I'm inspired with my parents' marriage. I don't think I can do anything different with my parents' marriage.
My parents' relationship taught me on how to amend, how to abase, and how, when crises come out, I will know when to be silent, I will know when to talk, I will know when to react.
Well, number one, I'm not inspired by my parents' marriage because they divorced each other.
As a man, you don't get married to somebody that his or her parents are not together. One way or the other, it will definitely affect.
Love is patient, love is tolerable, love is understanding, and love just makes you do better as a person.
God bless the marriage. They started their relationship, from the relationship now leading to the marriage, and that's the marriage. And God bless them, now give them 9 children.
What I come about love is the oneness. Let's peace. No time. Many people love coming to our home because of the peace. Because anytime you come, if you are sad, you must talk what's your problem. But some houses, if you go, the mood they are is the mood you be. They don't encourage you, but they depress you.
Another thing that I also want to emulate, how to be by yourself, how to keep some certain things away from your children, because you don't want something like this to happen in your own future. So I think my parents have done a very great deal of keeping those things. I also don't want to make them know that I know this thing about this particular thing. Do you get? So they have done a very great deal at keeping those things to themselves and trying to work on those things and then keeping us in the loop also. So I don't think there's any bad thing that I see and say, oh no, I don't want my marriage to be like this.
No, at all, at all. There's nothing, I repeat, nothing different I can see in my parent marriage. Like I said it before, my parent marriage was blessed from God. So, and I would like to do the same when my own time comes.
That's what my dad and my mom normally do. And that thing, anytime they do that thing, I will always get upset. People gather. So I said, no, I don't like this thing. So one day I confronted my dad. I said, I don't like this thing. But he told me something, but I did not understand because I was a child. So when I was going to journey, as I said, journey. So in Praise of Life, we went somewhere, and I saw something similar in my family. I now realize the reason why my dad acts the way he acts.
The way my parents love each other, that is not the way I have loved people that I have been in relationships with, like I can say. So I don't think the way they handle their marriage and their relationships have influenced me in any way.
So a conversation about love, commitments, relationships, modern love, and real pressure happening today on Jasiri as we wrap up the month of love. So Iheanyi, we took to the streets, Nigerians spoke, some were inspired, some were not. Were you at all surprised by what you heard the people say in terms of their parents' marriage and how it may have affected their view of relationships and marriage?
Well, I think it wasn't a wide enough spectrum of people. Because the people we saw were people that probably had a lot of, without being judgmental, had a lot of tough environments around the marriages they grew up, from my observation. And some of the things that were said were very generic. You know, nobody really said...
Wanted to dig in.
Nobody really said anything, you know. Nobody said... The one person that said I was not inspired.
Did not really explain.
Yes, it's really vague. You know, what if he's a crazy kid and just didn't like order? You know, and so that was his own interpretation of it. But I think that across board, 40 years ago, 50 years ago to today, the quality and the content of relationship and marriage has altered so much. But one thing we need to know is that the perceptions they had of marriage is completely different from perceptions you have today. Those days they would stay and say it is out of place to walk away from your marriage. So they would rather endure it and never find a solution. Today, I think even the reverse or the extreme reverse is the case. We have so much solution to the point where it's getting a bit complicated, but I'm sure we'll talk about
yes, we will.
Yeah, so I know Iheanyi will be answering a lot of questions, but you know, we like to dig into our lives sometimes to be able to show people the reality that we are part of them, we are human too. Yeah. So let me ask Dashin first. Would you say that your parents... Tolu is on
No, I might surprise you people.
Yes.
I might surprise you.
Would you say that your parents' marriage inspired or warned you about relationships?
Well, I would say it did both. You know, despite the challenges they actually faced, they are quite close. My mom was 18 when she got married. My dad was 20, so they were quite young. And, you know, a lot of people got married at a very young age back then. So they had a very beautiful life. But I think when you get married so early, you actually get tired at some point, right? And you just probably want your freedom and want your rest or something. But then I felt like towards the end of my dad's life, my mom wanted her independence at some point, because there were some things she said, some statements, and it just made me feel like, But it's not like they didn't have a good life. Yeah. The only challenge that I would say that actually won me was her in-laws. That's my dad's family. They did not like her at all. So in that case, I would say it made their marriage kind of toxic.
How did your dad handle the in-laws? Because I think that's what is instructive.
Yeah. So I would say he was caught up between the devil and the deep blue sea, because he loved my mom so much, and then he loved his family so much. So it was, at some point, it was difficult for him to, you know, balance both. Especially when, you know, most of them, they're adults, and they have minds of their own, and they want what they want. So, but I would say that's actually what I'm really worried about, in-laws. Right. Yeah. So,
okay. That's gospel according to Dashin. So I'm a Baba Yard. Explain. So it's a Christian marriage. It's rosy, sweet.
It's not.
Juicy.
Why it's not?
So my parents were young as well, and I think I'll shock a lot of people when I say this, that their marriage was arranged.
Oh,
They didn't
I
meet,
get
I
it.
don't think they met until the day before their wedding.
There you go.
So my parents had been married.
There you go.
My firstborn sister would have been, they were married around 55-ish years, thereabouts. So it's a mix for me, just like Dashin said. There are so many things I can take from their marriage. One thing, they never argued in front of us. And I think that's, we tend to underestimate the power of that. So it's one of the things I brought into my marriage. I will hold it until we enter that room. We have, I don't know how my husband has aligned with me, but we try as much as possible not to argue in front of my daughter. And even though somebody might say you're allowing her to think everything is rosy, no, she knows when there's tension. She'll come and say, you and Daddy are fighting. I say, we're not fighting. We're having a disagreement. But we don't do the shouting, we don't do the fighting and that in front of her. And I think our parents, for their time, did according to their knowledge and according to the examples they had in front of them. So for me as well, it's a mixed bag. And you know, I'm always one who says we need to look at the quality as well as the quantity. We cannot focus on duration and use that to browbeat, particularly women now, about not staying in marriages. I'm one of those that there was a point in time I was writing letters and pushing them under the door and telling these people, can you please divorce? Just divorce and let us have peace.
It gets to that
Let
point
me choose
sometimes,
which side I'm going to go, you know? We'll be doing custody arrangements. And then they got over it. So with the hindsight of experience, now being married a few years, and grace, I see them more realistically as a man and a woman who are trying to make things work, not just as my parents. So it's definitely a mixed bag.
Wow. Okay, we're supposed to go on a break.
I need you to tell your own.
Okay, for me, would I say I learned? No. I would never use my parents' standard of marriage as anything. In fact, I grew up in a polygamous home, and half the time, I didn't even see any relationship between my dad and my mom, particularly. I saw a relationship between my dad and my stepmom. You know, even though I felt it was overly dramatic, forced, but so I wouldn't say I picked up any nuggets of anything when it comes to relationship at home. At least for me, I didn't even think I understood what love meant, because I've seen my father reject my mom's food. She doesn't go to his room, you know. She stays in her own room, and I just saw that little cluster. I've seen my mom unhappy a lot. I've seen her relationship with my stepmom, and I found it very confusing, because I believe that if you brought in love to add to your home, why would you neglect one and leave off one? Why don't you discard of this one so that you can focus on this one? But my mom would say things like, I'm staying for my children, and in my own, you can't leave, because it's like, and my mom got the short end of the stick. When he married her, he didn't even tell her he had a child. He was straight from registry. He put my elder sister on her leg as she got home and prostrated. And so imagine starting out like that, and this man still went on to have, oh God,
concubines.
You know, I wish.
So the thing is, you might think you're not taking anything away, but subconsciously you did.
The life, why my own marriage crashed, I understood it perfectly. So it's not anything out of focus. I was just a young girl looking for stability. And I wanted to create one for myself
and
at
create
all
the family
costs.
you never had.
And create the family I never, because I didn't have a vision. I just felt the first Christian man that loved God and loved Jesus is the only standard.
See, Iheanyi is going to react. Let's go on a break now. We're going to be deep today, and I hope you guys are ready for this. Yes. So as we get further into today's conversation, we ask a big question after the break. Is love actually harder now, or just different? Because the truth is, relationships today don't look like they did a generation ago. Social media has changed access, financial realities have changed expectations, and independence has changed dynamics. And commitment, it seems to carry more negotiation than ever before. So what exactly has shifted? What pressures didn't exist before? And what are we better equipped for love today, or more overwhelmed?
Welcome back to Jasiri. Now, we have dedicated Fridays in the month of love to love. And today, we want to end the month interrogating what love means with the pressures of the modern world involved. Our love has always required work, but the work looks very different today. Previous generations dealt with pressure too, like survival, provision, societal expectations, and rigid gender roles. Today's couples are navigating something else entirely. Visibility, choice overload, financial strain, emotional literacy, independence, and constant comparison. Now, joining us to unpack this is Dr. Iheanyi Ejiogu, a relationship coach with over 2 decades of experience working with singles and couples through the realities of modern love. Thank you for staying with us again, Dr. Ejiogu.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to react to what we said?
Well, yes, for a few things. What I see is, let's start with Dash, right? It still boils down to the quality of information that was available at the time versus the cultural orientations at the time. Because if you're going to get married to someone, the truth is, whether you like it or not, you should have a relationship with his or her family. Now, the part of how to engage your in-laws is something that a lot of men don't have the skill for and are not taught. You know.
But women are taught. We're taught to actually bend over and away for in-laws.
So a man, an average man would struggle or just expect that his wife's family already gets it. You know, and if he's not taught, the only way men deal with things, there are 2 ways. They deal with it confrontationally, or they avoid it completely. They just don't talk about it. They just tell you, go and do what you do. I'm talking to your sisters. You go and find a way to talk to my brothers. And if it's never resolved, it will just spiral out of control. I've seen a situation where a brother slaps his brother's wife. And then brother comes back and blasts wife.
For being slapped.
Yeah, and blasts wife for, yes. And then says nothing to the brother. You know, says nothing. It just, you know, so her pain was not that she was slapped. Her pain was, you have now told everybody in your family that they can take turns to slap me.
Wow.
You know, so I'll leave it there.
I understand.
On the other sides, church, Christianity, religion. I'm a person of faith, and I know that the Christian faith teaches love extensively. But you see, the issues of relationship are relational. So if a man and a wife have an issue, it's not a prayer meeting. It is a relationship issue that should be resolved relationally. So someone should say, I was wrong, I was right, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But if you turn it to a prayer meeting, this is why a lot of people, even in church, have a lot, if you go to the rugs of their emotion, there's so much packed underneath it because they don't talk about anything. In the morning, just say, let's pray. Father, every discomfort in this house we destroy, And you've not dealt with it.
You haven't.
Because she's still upset, he's still upset. She said something about being tired. 50 years, 10 years can weary you living with. What a lot of people don't even understand about marriage is, you've lived for 20 years, you lived for 25 years before you met this guy, before you met this girl. She's already formed. At 18, you are formed. At 21, you're really formed. Now, you show up from the blues with your own orientations and all. And we just assume that because we like the same movies, because we like the same colors, because we like traveling, we like the same hobbies, we have clicked. And it is such a lie. Because there is so little you know of your husband because you guys like the same food.
I was telling something, and he will try to say the same, we're still discovering aspects of ourselves.
Of course.
Yeah. Do you know toothpaste causes divorces?
Oh, yeah.
The fact that you press in the middle and somebody presses at the end.
Somebody's... So you don't know that he likes... So maybe someone likes to mix food, but you don't know. Egusi and ogbono. You think of egusi as egusi. You think of ogbono as ogbono. But the guy says, if it's small remains, pour them together. And you don't know. 12 you are sitting there, he just pours the egusi into it, and you show disgust, and he looks at you and he's seeing condescending look. He's not seeing that you don't understand what he's doing. And this is why very little things can trigger. 2 years in marriage is not enough to say, we have clicked. 10 years in marriage. It's not enough to say, we are clean. You don't even know half of that lady.
And they keep evolving, even with marriage, as
because
you
the
grow.
older you get, when they say midlife crisis, whilst it sounds very fictitious in modern times, there's a reality around turning 40, turning 50, turning 60. For men, sometimes over 40, they become boyish again. They want to wear shorts now. Yes, they want to wear shorts now. They want to wear tenants. They want to do God. They want to do their hair. They want to just do something.
Go and pierce their ears.
They want to do something. Now, for a lady, she wants more establishment at 40, at 50. She wants to now be queen. And it's not a bad thing if men are even taught to understand it. When she says, I have labored, these kids are in their teenagers now, we're good. Now this is my queen season. It's something that the man should jump at, because that season of life is almost plug and play if he understands it. But if he doesn't, if she doesn't even communicate it properly, he will begin to interpret that we are two men in the house. Because her queen season is rest. She wants to just give instruction, enjoy the empire. We've built a life. But the man would hear, only one person gives instructions here. And she's saying, but this is what I want. But we've lived for 25 years. How come suddenly you want so? Because she's not telling him that I'm not against what you're doing. I just want to enjoy where I am right now. Now, if he doesn't get it, it's going to become chaos. A lot of marriages are struggling after that 20, 15-year mark. They get into that place where they begin to endure each other. And I think that's what I love to deal with. Because a lot of times, couples accuse themselves of absolutely nothing. When you see a couple and you talk with them for 20 minutes, the issue was how she sends the message.
Communication.
And there was nothing wrong. There was no infidelity. There was nothing. He just felt, or she just felt, he doesn't see me. And a man doesn't fully understand, he doesn't see me. I come home every day. I plan our trips together. Why are you saying I don't see you?
Okay, pause. You also have to give us feedback on Lolo.
Okay, yeah. So, in cases where polygamy is on the table, it's usually a case of the quality of associations the children find outside of that space, because already they are tossed into something that their minds or brains might never be able to grasp. Because he or she gets into secondary school and finds out that all his or her friends have one mom, one dad. And they are wondering, okay, so is ours broken or is ours abnormal? And then they are unable to just understand. So the ability to even be committed to one thing to see it through becomes a subconscious struggle that child or even that relationship will ever have. Now, the woman or the man in question is always usually broken. Now, it's not all the case, before all of you come for me, but usually the man is already altered, or the women are already. When people say things like, we'll live in peace, one person in that triangle is enduring. Or all three are enduring, but we're old enough to say, okay, no problem, we're matured, we're going to. marriage is not for endurance.
Please, can you repeat it for the people at the back?
Marriage is not for endurance. You don't marry to endure or to get out of hardship. If you think marriage is not hardship, think again.
Okay, so let me ask this question. We can compare relationships before and relationships now, because we hear a lot of, oh, what happened to these women are not like our mothers. They're not prayerful. They're not this. They're not that. But they had their pressures.
Yes.
But do you think the pressures of relationships from then are absolutely different from today, or it's just that we've added additional pressures?
Well, I think there are new pressures that we don't even understand where they are coming from. You know, suddenly the concept of provision is now so open-ended, you know, and that in itself distorts the mental orientation already. You know, so whilst it's not a bad thing, the male orientation doesn't understand why he thinks. So let me give an example. I'm single, you're single, we're going on a date. And in my head in Africa, I'm thinking that it doesn't matter how much money you have. My job right now while we are dating is to score some points with you. You know, I'm going to pay for if I don't have a car, I pay for the Uber, I pay for the drink. But you, as a modern woman, says, I will not put a pressure on any man that I'm not committed to yet. But you didn't tell him. He doesn't know. So you come armed with your cards and your own cash.
Normal.
He comes with his card and he's trying to score a point. And in your ability to say, I'm trying to support him, you are cutting off every point he's trying to score. He opens the door, you give him this look. You know, and then he lets it go. You go in, you know, you bring
wants
out
to pull out the chair.
Yes, you give him this look. You know, so he's wondering what he's doing wrong. You are wondering what he's doing wrong. Why are you trying to overcompensate? He's saying, this is my role. I need to make you feel comfortable. But now the modern woman is comfortable in herself. It doesn't mean the modern woman should not be taken care of or be romantic towards.
Yes.
Before someone will take that statement out of context.
We like baby girl life.
Yes.
We're here for this
Yes.
life.
Yes, you know. So at the end of the day, he doesn't want to follow up on that conversation because it just seemed like two guys were talking. You know, so she also needs to learn when to just kick back and just allow yourself to be spoiled. There were certain things that our parents did our mothers did for our fathers that we probably not know. There were times that our fathers didn't have. And our mothers did not let us know that our fathers did not have.
But that situation you're pointing to is also an example where it has created a false sense of reality for many children, especially boys. And they're now dealing with it in their own marriages.
So that's my point. So she does everything, and at no point did the boys ever know that it was mom that helped. So
even family members.
Yeah. So why is it that couples are not interacting with? It's not you against your spouse. You know, it's your spouse against the world.
Yeah.
You know, but when you go with let me just say this for free. If your wife or your husband's name is on your family WhatsApp group for everybody to discuss, you are a bad spouse. If your wife or your husband is on a communal WhatsApp group where if he does something or she does something and you come on that platform, say, wait, I have a new update on your wife or on your husband. What you've done is you've set yourself up to be in trouble because the moment they need him to be respected, they struggle to because you brought information for us not to respect him. You say he's very unserious. You say he's undomesticated. You say, so when he comes to the house and he's trying to carry a child and the child is crying, all your siblings are laughing because you told them that he was not domesticated. You know, so it's an in-house joke, but he's seen being insulted. You know, he's looking at all his in-laws and everybody's giggling. You know, so you are thinking there's no issue, but he's wondering what do they know? You know, so,
we're getting no. It's good. Let's take a break.
Okay.
Now we've talked about endurance versus success in marriages, how our parents' marriages may have impacted our own relationships. When the conversation continues, love may have changed, but the real tension shows up when modern pressures collide with modern expectations. So after the break, we get into what's really straining relationships today, social media, money, comparison, and the battle between romance and reality. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us on Jasiri today. Interesting conversation because about love and relationships. So, if relationships feel harder now, it's not imagination. Couples today are managing public lives alongside private ones. Love is now watched, measured, compared, and sometimes performed online. Add financial pressure, shifting gender roles, and unrealistic expectations, and intimacy becomes fragile. So, what exactly would we say is straining modern relationships? And how much of it are we really underestimating? So, as we're wrapping up this month of love, some people avoided social media during Valentine's Day.
For security reasons.
Thank God I had a child born on that day. Some showed off their love. Oh, all those couples with red and white pajamas and whatever they are doing. They did now.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
I know that there are plenty citing all those things, hashtag God when, hashtag couple goals, flying all around. So let's ask, has social media changed, how people define good relationships? And how is it truly impacting our relationships?
Okay.
It's a lot.
Powerful question and very practical question. I think a lot of us do not know how much social media has affected our perceptions of ourselves and of others. So you come on social media, you see an old classmate that you probably used to bully, and she's in front of a Maybach, a beach front house, and you don't even know that it is a set, right?
Abi.
You see it, and then you lose peace. You go home, and your husband, maybe her video was, there was a situation, a lady bought a Discman for a guy, and the guy bought a CLK, Mercedes-Benz. They were celebrating love, so she bought a Discman that didn't play. The first CD they put in did not play. And this guy bought a CLK with a teddy bear in it, wine and chocolate.
Wow.
And they exchanged it. His friends came back with him to call, he followed him back.
Can you imagine?
So social media has a way of giving us a false sense of reality. You see someone's life for 45 seconds and you conclude that he's having a blast. You see someone's life for 20 seconds and you conclude that she's having a blast. Comparison is the fastest way to kill relationship or internal convictions. Because you get out there, you hear someone speaking very, very well, and you do not know that beyond speaking very well, that's what she's got going, that's her thing. So social media helps in the sense that you can put out your best foot forward. However, you can hide your 1,000 other bad foots. And that's where a lot of people do not pay attention. So people put out only when they are smiling. People put out only when they are laughing. I have seen social media destroy marriages that could have had the potential of being great, but because they constantly put it online.
So is it just, I'll ask this next question, then we have a comment I want us to take.
Yep.
Is it just being on social media as well? Because some of the data I've read also says that social media has helped to facilitate cheating and infidelity in new ways. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's look about that. Because what's the role that social media has played in cheating and infidelity in relationships?
Well, because it's now...
Sliding into the DM.
Yes, because it's now not a bad thing. It's now a public domain. I wasn't really hiding it. It's your immaturity that is getting in the way. So people get away with horrors now, things that were morally structured behavior before. So you come and see your guy's phone and he's soaked in adult content for hours. Maybe fell asleep and left the phone, and he's saying, and then he comes back with, if I was hiding it, would I not have locked my phone?
Or why are you going through my phone?
Yes, or if I was hiding it, would I not have locked my phone? It's your instincts. Please do not project your insecurities
on me.
And we've seen that gaslighting is a thing in the times we're in now.
Yeah.
You can get yourself to say anything you want. You can get people to think anything they want to think of you. So I can, God forbid it, so we're on a date and I'm really rude, I'm aggressive and all of that, But the time you push me towards the door is when my friend filmed. And I take that clip and I put out. And then I say, everybody just watch out for this dashing. She will dash you.
You play the victim.
Now, before any other thing comes up, I already have a pity party.
You have a narrative.
I show the receipt of the dinner. I set it up in such a way that So sometimes people that are complaining about their relationships are not really mad, but they are now at the mercy of social media. So she's saying he's insincere, or he's saying she's insincere, but he said, but the social media does not corroborate this. He was on your lap, she was on your lap at the beach on Sunday. So you are schizophrenic. Something is wrong with you and you're trying to project. So we've seen that criminal intent is at an all-time high now.
Yeah.
The sacredness of commitment to one person is no longer what it is, because social now you can feast, you can have Kemi's face, Titi's body, Kate's hips. You can do literally anything you want to do. And if you don't even pull yourself back, because we're talking about relationship, marriage, and love now.
Yeah.
As per marriage, there are certain conversations that married people should be put out of the room if the issue is marriage.
Okay, so Tudor Felix, let's take what he said. Okay. Tudor Felix on WhatsApp says, to me, marriage is being destroyed by most women who refuse to be subjected to the principles of marriage. They don't want to be under the leadership of the head. They rebel against their husband by feeding the kids with lots of lies. Independence of women brings a lot of cracks in their homes. A woman who is working as a manager of personnel and being respected at workplace can no longer differentiate workplace authority to her matrimonial home. Women listen more to outsiders, take bad advice, and break their homes, but later regret it. And then he also says, social media is destroying the fabric of marriage. People lie a lot. People try to identify with fake life. But we agree on that. But what he said...
Yes. Okay, so I hear you. But in a case where this same manager was the lifeline when business goes bad, and it was that managerial role that she has that could bring the resources that could take care of you in that season, would you suddenly say it was okay that she had a managerial job? I think at the core of it is the quality of the knowledge we have as men and women. Yeah. Yes, there's something emotional about power and influence, but if it sounds, so when I tell people things like, maybe I've been married 18 years and we've never had any incident that had, not once. It sounds as if it's far out, but you can tell from a mile where a conversation is already going south. You can tell, and you can either choose to stick it out or choose to pursue peace. So if you see that where this thing is going to end in egos clashing. He's saying, there are egos. The assumption that women don't have egos is also not a fair assessment.
Hey! Esho, thank you. Please repeat it. Ego is not gender-driven.
Exactly.
However,
but
the male ego
is bigger.
A man can walk away from 100 billion contract just because a woman told him to do something, and because he didn't want to do what she did. He would walk away from it and not apologize and continue to remain in the orderly space and say he won. So it is not as, I love talking about, because it's not as black and white as it sounds. There are times where you need her leadership. If you are constantly working, who is coaching your children?
Yeah.
If both of you are working, and when you come back, the least you can do is to say, what can I do to make this evening less stressful for both of us and not for one person? Because I know some of you men will come for me now. When two of you come back, you're tired. Two of you are working classical. You come back, both of you are tired. Find one thing to alleviate. She finds one thing to alleviate, so that both of you are communally tired and communal. That's how both of you will go and rest well. But when both of you are tired, and one person comes back and is now exceptionally tired and offended. And the person that is usually tired and offended has a high propensity for emotional pressure. Males are more likely to be logical, So she makes sure everybody eats, she takes care of the kids, and she lies down. And then suddenly he shows up from the blues, right? And he's giving the
smiling. Rub sides and rub the head.
Putting on the lights, he's saying, how was your day? How was your father's day?
Exactly. Dr. Iheanyi, very interesting, because a lot of men don't. These days, everybody just wants their own voices to be louder. Nobody's really considerate of the other as much as we should be. But now they'll say times are hard.
No, but what he's saying is, he's thinking generally across board, they're getting a lot of... So what he's calling women are not humble any longer, women are not submissive any longer, is a case where I will have to tell you what I need to do for you to do. Because as it stands now, I walk, you walk. But you want traditional roles and outcomes. But we walk, but we both walk. You know, so when we finish work, can we get off work and be a family together? And attend to kids, do kitchen, do life. So if you don't want,
they'll tell you that their fathers did not.
Yes, that's why their wives did not do anything.
Their mothers didn't work
really.
as well.
You know,
Now, there's nothing wrong with it. However, the times we're talking about relationships and love and marriage in modern times, there is a complete, the world we grew up. I showed my daughter a typewriter. Right, my daughter is 12. I showed her a typewriter, and when she asked so many questions, so what's going on here now? I said, every alphabet you press. She said, what if you make a mistake? I said, you have to bring out the paper, get tippet. You know, and she said, you people suffer. You know? And I told her, no, secretaries, this is how they have to churn out letters. This is how they were doing. And she couldn't wrap her mind around how work was done then. So you can only even begin to imagine her world view about productivity. So that's not an issue of a man or woman. I should be able to do a letter. I should be able to, life has become more efficient. So in relationships, while there are principles that will not shift, right? I know that there is this gender wars now, you know, and sometimes because men are confrontational, if you bring, I've said this before, conversations are different from confrontations. So if these issues are brought up with men as confrontations, it will always meet a brick wall. Always.
So we have to watch ourselves.
No, wait.
No, because that is literally the question I was going to ask. Because it feels like then you expect women to always tiptoe.
No, you see.
Always regulate emotions. I'm regulating for myself. I'm regulating for you. I'm walking on eggs.
No, emotional intelligence just suggests that you should be able to read your don't treat people based on how you are. Treat people based on how they are. So I'm not talking only to the women. I'm just saying, however, if you're going to bring up an issue with a man, if you bring it up as a confrontation, most likely to end in a voice battle and scatter.
And no resolution.
And there's no resolution. And then, because women are more emotional, women will go and start processing the conversation that did not go well. While a man has moved on. If you ask him now, we say, oh, we are fine. We had a small row yesterday night, but we're good.
Yeah.
You know, he's not coming back to it again. He's done. He has given you your moment to vent.
Right.
But meanwhile, you are saying, we've not talked. He's saying, how have we not talked? Who did all the talking yesterday?
Yeah, we have to hold on.
Let's go to...
It's like there's going to be part 2 because we have not... There's not much coming up. Let's take a break because we want to talk about finances and also that part that our WhatsApp person brought up, the independence of women and how it's impacting modern relationships.
Thank you very much for staying with us. Of course, this is like the home stretch on the show now. Dr. Iheanyi is coming back. A given, because I don't think we can exhaust everything that we need to exhaust today. So we'll say things like times are hard. Yes, the economy is quite, is not smiling, and financial strain is on relationships for real. And I envy those that have 2-partner homes. So imagine what happens when you're a single person home. So how much damage would you say that financial stress causes on the family? And if we're comparing it to infidelity, which one is higher now?
Whew. Okay, so you see that these questions are just
wild.
Three major areas where most relationships struggle: communication, sex, and finance. Communication, sex, and finance. But since our focus is on finance, money is an inevitable reality in any relationship today.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how you try to spin it, if you cannot meet, so we tell young men who are planning to get married, like, we're not saying have $1 billion, but we're saying have a place where you lock and the key is yours.
That is yours.
That is yours.
Not family house.
Show me a shelf where there are two loaves of bread, one for you and one for someone else. Show us that you will be able to take care of somebody else. It's not, let's even leave materialistic, because that one is another subject for another day. I believe that a woman by design has a higher standard of exotic or luxury than a man. Women are wired, they are softer. So they are designed to like good things.
Yeah, like to lose bad.
Make them materialistic.
Yes, I'm going somewhere with this. I know there are those that Transformers are touching and then become materialistic. But more often than not, you go to a restaurant, a woman's menu will always be different from a man's menu,
Yes,
except he's
salmon.
trying to impress her.
Salmon.
He will just go for his swallow or go for. But she sees bolognese,
Baby potatoes
she sees
and
this.
some
She wants to try
asparagus.
it now. Because she didn't think of what was in your purse doesn't mean she was callous.
No.
You know, she just assumed that us coming into this space meant you were good for it. You know, if you are taking me to Mama Chichi, we would have eaten Mama Chichi's menu.
We'll have Mama Chichi's bill.
We would have eaten Mama Chichi's menu. However, the way people are carrying this matter, let me just step back a bit. Right? You know, so you don't take me to 5-star and ask me for a 1-star menu. That's what I would do as a man. Because we just want to eat. Very few of us really notice when
You
the
want to be
spices are
full.
not.
We want to explore
but
our
the woman
palate.
wants to know that it was what if it's 50K for that sample meal.
Yeah.
She wants to get all the flavors.
This is all of it.
Oh, yes.
So the guy is just looking and he's looking at her. This is 50,000 and you're okay with this. She's looking at him and saying, what a man. He brought me to such an exotic place. No, this our life together will be. So 2 different conversations in the same scenario. Now, the other part I won't touch is, would that have been the case if it was only on her tab?
That's the point.
Would the bill have run that high if it was on her tab? You know? So men don't fight, right? You are the one women were designed to like. Adam was made to walk. Eve was made to look at Adam.
And support
So,
him.
yes. However, modern times, if we stayed on only Adam's bill today, in an average young family, Adam will die.
That would collapse.
It cannot
Now, you
work.
have men these days asking women, do you have money?
Men are digging for gold too.
It's crazy out
This is the
there.
unfortunate reality of advancement. Advancement comes with exposure.
Yeah.
Exposure comes with removing boundaries and limits to conversations now.
So time is not on our side, and I like that we've gone to advancements and exposure. And I promised a quick look at independence. When I was writing this script, I knew that the independence I was talking about was of women, not men. Because it is women's independence that is now shaping relationships. And you see women have more choices, they're more educated, financially independent. And I know it's not across board, but it is something that's gradually changing. So while many young women don't want the relationships that their parents had, many young men want to replicate the family life that their fathers had. They want to be the type of fathers and husbands, which was Lord and Master, but it wasn't working. So how do we... So when people are expecting, especially women are expecting emotional intelligence, emotional fulfillment, is the growth we're seeing, is this independence of women a negative factor in how modern relationships are shaped? And let me tell you, so I didn't go straight from my father's house to my husband's house. I lived by myself and I lived with roommates for 3, 4, 5 years, even before I met my husband. And it's something I'm going to make sure my daughter does. And I think a lot, but we'll notice that some men actually go from their parents' home to their husband and their home with their wife. And so there's just conversation around how the girls are having expectations and becoming more independent versus the expectations of the young men these days.
Well, I think that it's not a bad thing for everybody to be advanced, male and female. However, the core curricula of both parties should be taught across board. There are a lot of women empowerment gigs going on all. I say it now, women empowerment gigs going across board. But sometimes those conversations do not incorporate domestic engagement, usually. So it's almost as though women want to be men without saying it, almost as though women want to be men. Because men rarely talk about their domestic conversations in a corporate conference or whatever. They just assume that men know what to do at home. However, women are now learning to, what women need to do is to now find out what is the ideal curriculum for a woman that wants to be a mother, a wife. and let that curriculum be incorporated into your corporate executive role, into your fund, into your finance, into your corporate world outlook, so that you don't miss out on a good thing. I've seen corporate executives that call me and say they're heartbroken because of how connected to their nannies their children are. And they can't replicate it, no matter how they try. They buy toys, they do this, and it hurts them to the point where they book sessions. And they are looking, and they're wondering, what is she doing? She's so unrefined. She's so, how are the children gravitating? Yes, how are the children so gravitated? I'm well-spoken. I tell them to sit well. I tell them to say thank you, please. And now they see me like they see their dad.
As the disciplinarian.
Yes, but so your softer side must also be on the table in your corporate side.
But wait, does that not mean that we're still asking the women to be the ones to do the work?
No, what work?
The work to be able to, it's almost like you want to split me. And I'll tell you, I told the ladies before that there was a point in time where, it goes back to what Felix said. When I got home, I needed to understand that I needed to leave TAB. I needed to leave the director of programs at the door and enter my house as my husband's wife and as my daughter's mother. And so I'm doing that work. I have to, it's like I'm switching off a part of my brain. But how do you also, there's no time.
So you see that's what a man is already doing.
How?
While some of them don't know how to unswitch. Some people send memos in the house, right? A man already is wired to just come home, provide, go to work, do whatever.
That means you can't have two men in the house.
My point
is, don't worry. I'm so sorry. He's coming back.
This is like a four-part series.
Let me take the messages and then we wrap up. Good morning, enjoying your live program ongoing on News Central. When the vision of a woman is greater than that of a man, then it is a mismatch. And the other comment I'm going to take very quickly says that please bring this up again. Financial stress causes infidelity in marriages. Thank you so much to the entire crew. You can see that we're just...
No, this conversation is important for people.
Work it out. And we will ask you to send in your questions and your comments as well, because I think there are a lot of relationships that can be saved with conversation, communication, and with the right tools. Before they kick us out of the studio, we'll see you on Monday. Bye for now.